Hello and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Alison Lagrange coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. Let's take a look at our top stories. Now, Israel has launched an airstrike in Lebanon's capital Beirut, killing 3 civilians. Lebanon officials say at least 74 people were wounded in the attack. And Israel says the strike was in response to the Golan Heights attack, which killed 12 children. Ambulances rushed to the scene of the Israeli airstrike in Beirut suburbs. A loud blast and plumes of smoke could be seen rising above the region. The impact of the smashed windows and dozens of cars and shop facades. The southern suburbs of Lebanese capital are where Hezbollah has significant presence. Anger grew after an Israeli strike hit a Hezbollah stronghold in southern Beirut. Young men gathered at the site amidst dust and broken glass, showing support for Hezbollah. They chanted, "We are at your service, Nasrallah," referring to the Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah. Israel forces also claim that the Beirut strike killed a senior commander of the Hezbollah group. Hezbollah sources say that the commander has survived the aerial strike. However, Hezbollah acknowledged that he was in a building that was hit at the time. The Hezbollah commander targeted in Beirut is named Fahad Shakur. Now, he served as the right-hand man to Hezbollah Secretary General Hassan Nasrallah. Israel says Fahad was behind the massacre in the Golan Heights. The Israel-targeted Hezbollah leader was also long wanted by the U.S. It was for his alleged involvement in the 1983 Marine Corps barrack in Beirut. Now, the bombing killed over 300 people, mostly American service members. In 2017, Washington offered a $5 million reward for any information on Shakar. Israel says the strike in Beirut was in response to the Golan Heights strike. At least 12 children lost their lives in that incident. Israel had pinned the blame on Hezbollah and had vowed a reprisal. Hezbollah has maintained that it was not involved in the rocket strike in the Majd al-Shams. And Lebanon's Prime Minister Najib Mikati has condemned Israel's strike on its capital Beirut. He called the attack a blatant Israeli aggression. Mikati called the act a criminal in a series of aggressive operations, killing civilians in clear and explicit violation of international law. And Lebanon's Foreign Minister Abdallah Bohabib reacted to the strike in the region. He said that Lebanon was not expecting any strike on Beirut. Habib added that he hoped any response by Hezbollah shall be proportionate. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant stated that Hezbollah had crossed the red line following the targeted strike in South Beirut. Gallant posted on X shortly after the Israeli military confirmed the strike. The attack targeted a commander responsible for a rocket strike on the Golan Heights that killed 12 children. Hezbollah and Israel, who last fought a major war in 2006, have been exchanging fire since the Gaza war began in October. Hezbollah claims its attack on Israeli targets are in solidarity with Palestinians. Hostilities have been mostly limited to the border region, with both sides indicating they do not want a wider conflict, despite concerns of escalating war. In the latest exchange on Tuesday, 10 rockets were fired from Lebanon, with one hitting Kibbutz Hagashrim, killing a 30-year-old man. Iran calls Israel's strike in Beirut vicious. In a statement issued by Iran, says the vicious and criminal action of the Zionist criminal gang in the suburbs of Beirut certainly cannot stop. Israel hit Lebanon's capital city of Beirut, targeting a senior Hezbollah commander. The U.S. State Department said that they will continue to pursue a diplomatic way to avoid escalation of the conflict between Israel and the Lebanese group Hezbollah. This was said during a press briefing. This comes after Lebanese security sources reported a strike on a Hezbollah commander in Beirut's southern suburbs. Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States of America, says Israel has the right to defend itself against Hezbollah. This comes after Israel's strike in Hezbollah's stronghold in Beirut. She also called for a diplomatic solution to reduce the risk of all-out conflict. Houthis hit out at Israel, saying that the strike was deliberately launched. The group added that the strike violated all the international conventions and called it a flagrant violation of Lebanon's sovereignty. Russia is also on the list of countries condemning Israel's strike on Lebanon. According to Russian Foreign Ministry, this is a gross violation of international law. The UN Special Coordinator for Lebanon has expressed concerns over the attack of Israel on Beirut. She urged Israel and Lebanon to explore diplomatic avenues to sort their problems out, as there is no such thing as a military avenue. The coordinator also revealed that she is in touch with key interlocutors and urged for calm to prevail. And now we have with us Fahad Noon, a special envoy for Israel's foreign ministry, live from Washington, D.C. Welcome to Firstpost.
Thank you.
Now, Israel has launched a strike on Hezbollah's stronghold in Beirut. It says the strike was in retaliation of the recent Golan Heights attack that killed 12 children. Could you give us more details of this operation?
Well, I'm not a military expert, but I can tell you that you don't kill 12 Israeli children in a soccer playground and think that you're immune from a reprisal. Israel is a democratic country. Israel has the right to defend itself. This was a barbaric act on innocent Druze children that did nothing to any of these people. And, we've been attacked. This is not exchange of fire since the 8th of October. This is Hezbollah and essentially Lebanon, because Hezbollah is part of the Lebanese government that has been attacking for no apparent reason Israel since the 8th of October. So any sovereign country that gets attacked by a neighboring country, I think, is within its full rights to defend itself and to take out the bad people that are doing this to our country and to our children. And let me just tell you who this guy is. Fouad Shukr, as you said quite rightly, he killed 241 American servicemen and women in 1983. He's a wanted, dangerous terrorist. And that's who Israel targeted. And the world is a better place that he's not in it.
Fleur, Israel also claims the senior Hezbollah commander, Shukr, has been eliminated in the strike. Now, he reportedly orchestrated that strike in Golan Heights and was a strategic advisor to Nasrallah. But Hezbollah says that he escaped and is still alive. What is the latest that you can tell us about these contradicting claims?
In Israel, we believe that he's been eliminated. I can't tell you beyond that because I'm not a security expert. But in Israel, we maintain that he has been eliminated. For Hezbollah, it's a very big blow to their ego, I'm assuming. And this is why they're trying to deny that he died. Hamas tried to do the same thing with Mohammed Def in Gaza a few weeks ago, but we pretty much know that he died. And so this is part of this system where you can't admit that you've had a loss. And this is why they're denying it.
Lebanon, Hezbollah and Iran have responded sharply to the strike. Is there a risk of a wider conflict breaking out after this retaliatory strike by Israel? Or does this strike amount to a limited action against Hezbollah?
Well, I think that this is a limited action against Hezbollah that we've taken. We don't want an all-out war, and I don't think they do either. If we did, then we'd be sending ground troops or using a very significant air power to bombard parts of Lebanon. We're not doing that. We're doing surgical pinpoint attacks and eliminating the arch terrorists that planned and executed a massacre on children.
The US has defended Israel's retaliatory strike, saying that Israel has a right to defend itself, as you mentioned, against Iran-backed threats. What are your thoughts on US-Israel ties and how they have been developing since the war in Gaza?
Well, I'm here in Washington right now for a wonderful conference that celebrates the US-Israel relationship. And I'm very positive. Ultimately, the United States understand that Israel is under threat from a number of different fronts. We have Hezbollah in the north, we have Hamas in the south. And I think everybody here understands that Iran is the big octopus behind all of these tentacles, all of these proxies. And they're a huge threat, not just to Israel, but to the whole free world, certainly to America. Look, just yesterday we heard in Iran parliament, in the inauguration of the Iranian parliament, them calling out death to America, death to Israel. Every time death to Israel is called out, you can believe the death to America is called out also. So we're all facing the same enemies. These people are enemies of the free world, enemies of democracy, enemies of our liberal values. They want to turn the world back 500 years. These are really bad guys.
The war in Gaza is nearing the 10-month mark. What do you think is the path forward in this conflict? Where is it headed?
Well, nobody can know that, but I'm hoping that we can do a deal to get back our hostages. We need to get back our hostages. Israel is prepared to make painful compromises, a ceasefire, and we really need to get back our hostages, and that's what we're trying to do. We never wanted this war. We never started this war. Israel has only ever wanted to live in peace with its neighbors, and since the beginning of the establishment of the State of Israel, we've had to face existential wars from countries that are not fighting for particular territory. They simply want to destroy us. And this is really the problem. The minute everybody accepts that Israel is not going anywhere, that Israel is here to stay, that Israel has the right to be here, this is an ancestral homeland, that Israel has an interest in living peacefully with our neighbors. Any Arab country, any regional country that has wanted peace with Israel has found peace with Israel. And so these groups are groups that are not interested in peace. They're interested in the destruction of the State of Israel. And so we're not going to sit down and let them do that.
Flo, thank you very much for being with us on First Post. We appreciate you being on this broadcast.
Thank you.
يلا البسي البسي
On to our next story now. Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh was killed in Tehran. According to Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, this has also been confirmed by Hamas. Haniyeh was in the Iranian capital to attend the swearing-in ceremony of the new Iranian president. Reports say that Ismail Haniyeh's funeral will be held in the Qatari capital Doha. It will be held on the 2nd of August. Hamas has said that their leader Haniyeh was killed in an Israeli airstrike. One of his bodyguards has also died. Hamas released a statement which said, and I quote, Haniyeh died in a Zionist strike on his residence in Tehran. Hamas has said the group would retaliate and Haniyeh's killing would not go unanswered. Now, Ismail Haniyeh joined Hamas in 1980s and was elected for the top job in 2017. He headed the political office of the Hamas Islamic Resistance and was staying in exile in Qatar. As Hamas's political leader, he played a crucial role in negotiation with international mediators. Haniyeh was involved in talks regarding hostage and ceasefire after Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. According to the Iranian media, Hamas chief Ismail Haniyeh was killed by an airstrike. Reports state that he was staying in one of the houses for war veterans in North Tehran. That is where he was martyred by an air-launched missile. Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has vowed harsh punishment for Israel after the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. Iran says Haniyeh's killing will strengthen the bond between Iran and Palestine, and that it is Tehran's duty to seek revenge for Haniyeh's blood. Iran's foreign ministry also said that Haniyeh's blood will never be wasted. Iran has declared 3 days of public mourning. This followed the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. Iran has blamed this attack on Israel, and Iran's long-standing adversary, the Iranian government, referred to Haniyeh's death as martyrdom. The president of the state of Palestine, Mahmoud Abbas, has condemned the killing of Hamas leader Haniyeh. He called the incident a cowardly act and a dangerous development. Abbas also called upon the people of Palestine to unite and be patient. Palestinian factions called for a general strike and marches on Wednesday to protest the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. They announced a comprehensive strike and anger marches to denounce the assassination. The factions described the killing as part of Zionist state terrorism and its war of extermination. This joint statement was made by national and Islamic factions in the West Bank. Turkey condemned the shameful assassination of Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh. A statement released by the Foreign Affairs Ministry states that this attack aims to spread the Gaza war to a regional dimension. The ministry also expressed their condolences to the Palestinian people who have sacrificed hundreds of thousands of martyrs like Haniyeh in order to live in peace in their homeland. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the U.S. position in Hamas chief's death. Blinken says that the U.S. was neither aware nor involved in Haniyeh's killing. His remarks came during a media interview in Singapore. And Russia has denounced the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. Russian Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Mikhail Bogdanov in an interview deemed the killing as an unacceptable political assassination. Bogdanov feels that this will lead to further escalation of tensions. Hamas has released an undated video clip of Haniyeh. The clip is of his interview with a media house. The video came with a quote attributed to Haniyeh where he says that he feels the weight of the responsibility of the Palestinian crisis. Haniyeh further said that he is ready to die for the sake of Palestine. Inas Haniyeh, the daughter-in-law of Ismail Haniyeh, released a teary-eyed video mourning the loss of her father-in-law. She says in the video that the pain is great as he was the crown of her head and the apple of her eye. Inas ended her video by saying goodbye to the leader of the nation. Mohammed Ali al-Houthi, the head of Yemen's Houthi Supreme Revolutionary Committee, took to X, formerly known as Twitter, to express his grief over the death of Ismail Haniyeh. He wrote that targeting Haniyeh is a heinous terrorist crime and a flagrant violation of laws and ideal values. He also stated that Haniyeh has won as a martyr. And Malaysia has condemned the killing of Hamas leader Haniyeh. According to Malaysia's foreign ministry, the government unequivocally condemns all acts of violence. They also urge peace-loving nations to join in denouncing such acts. China, too, has condemned the killing of Hamas chief. It says it is deeply concerned about more turmoil in the region. The Chinese foreign ministry repeats the call for comprehensive and permanent ceasefire in Gaza to avoid further escalation of the conflict. Afghanistan's Taliban government called the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh a great loss. They praised Haniyeh as an intelligent and resourceful Palestinian leader. The Taliban highlighted his legacy of resistance, sacrifice, patience, and struggle. Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid noted that Haniyeh left important lessons for his followers. And Syria denounced the killing of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh. The Foreign Ministry blamed Israel for the attack, and Syria warned that this escalation could ignite wider conflict in the region. The ministry described the act as a blatant Zionist aggression and despicable. Syria criticized Israel for its disregard of international laws, suggesting this could lead to a regional instability. Now, for more details, we have with us a senior journalist, Noga Tarnopolski, live from Jerusalem. Welcome to Firstpost.
Hello.
Now, the targeted killing of Haniyeh represents the highest-ranking death of a Hamas political leader since the October 7 attacks. Does this represent an escalation in the Israel-Gaza war?
Look, it's hard to know. Haniyeh has been a wanted man for many decades. He has been the leader of operations that have killed thousands of people, Palestinians and Israelis. So it's hard to know. Hamas, the organization that he led, is significantly degraded at this point. And while Iran has been one of the countries saying that some sort of retaliation will have to come, it's difficult to imagine that Iran will reverse its record since the Islamic Republic exists and actually risk the lives of its own soldiers for a Palestinian figure.
And how important was Ismail Haniyeh a leader for Hamas?
Sorry, I didn't hear you well.
How important was Ismail Haniyeh as a leader for Hamas?
You're asking why he was an important leader?
Yes.
Well, he was the public face of Hamas now for decades. He started out in Gaza years ago as the face of the military wing of Hamas, and eventually he became the head of what Hamas calls its Politburo. So it's kind of public face towards the world. He lived in 7-star hotels in Qatar, and he represented Hamas, as its top worldwide figure for many, many years now.
Right. And he was also a part of ceasefire talks. How could his killing affect the future of truce and the future of peace in Gaza?
Right. He never participated personally in talks. He was represented by Qatari negotiators. Hamas was. It's difficult to know. I think that's a huge question right now, whether Hamas will react by thinking that now, having lost this leader, there's a greater urgency to come to some sort of an agreement with Israel, with international guarantees, or whether they will want to retaliate against Israel. Again, Hamas itself, after 9.5 months of war, is very severely degraded. So the main way it could retaliate against Israel is using Hezbollah in Lebanon, Houthis in Yemen, other Iranian, proxies, or Iran itself. But again, I wouldn't count on it as an immediate reaction.
Right. And they have suffered heavy losses. Israel has killed 3 out of the top 6 leaders of Hamas. Who could possibly replace Haniyeh?
I actually don't know. Haniyeh was sort of a unique figure, as is, by the way, his military counterpart, Yahya Sinwar, who's in tunnels under Gaza. And Hamas is a kind of protean organization that adapts itself and reforms itself. So this will be a very serious blow, but not unexpected. Again, this guy has been, one of the most targeted people in the world for decades. And it's interesting, I have to say, that he took the risk he did by going to attend the inauguration of the new president of Iran and showing himself in public in that way. He must have known this was a significant risk for him.
Absolutely. And this strike, as you've said, was in Iran's capital, Tehran. Even though Israel has not claimed responsibility, Hamas has called it a Zionist strike. Could this further escalate tensions between Iran and Israel?
Could. Although, again, it's hard to know what form that would take, if it would be using other Iranian proxies. Iran has a brand new president as of today, for whom this is something of a humiliation, the fact that his security forces were not able to protect Haniyeh. So he may face kind of domestic pressures to be a bit more hardline than he has been in the past. He was considered a moderate. But it's hard to know, really. This is a unique event. It's hard to know how Iran will respond. And what we have heard from Iran today is very interesting. On the one hand, an unnamed senior official saying that revenge will be taken on Israel. On the other hand, the Iranian Foreign Ministry saying, we're not looking for war.
Thank you very much for being with us on First Post. We appreciate you being on the broadcast.
Thank you.
يلا البسي البسي
و به برکت
Hello and welcome to First Post. I'm Alison LaGrange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa.